understand the independence of the United States, we need to go back to the mid-18th century. At that time, 13 British colonies were established along the eastern coast of North America. These colonies were growing rapidly, both in population and economic strength. However, despite their growth, they remained under the strict control of the British Crown. Tensions were already simmering as colonists began to feel the weight of British laws and taxes, setting the stage for a dramatic turn in history. British government imposed a series of taxes and regulations on the American colonies, aiming to recover debts from previous wars, especially the costly 7 Years' War. Laws like the Stamp Act and the Townshend Acts placed financial burdens on the colonists, who had no representation in the British Parliament. This lack of a political voice led to the famous slogan, "No taxation without representation," which became a rallying cry for the colonists. As British policies became more restrictive, the colonists began to organize resistance. Groups like the Sons of Liberty emerged, leading protests and boycotts against British goods. The Boston Massacre in 1770 and the Boston Tea Party in 1773 were key events that intensified the conflict. These acts of defiance showed that the colonists were willing to stand up for their rights, even if it meant direct confrontation with British authority. In response to the growing crisis, representatives from 12 of the 13 colonies gathered in Philadelphia in 1774. This meeting, known as the First Continental Congress, aimed to find a peaceful solution to the disputes with Britain. The delegates petitioned the king for relief from oppressive laws, but also prepared for the possibility of further resistance. This was a crucial step toward unity among the colonies. Despite efforts at negotiation, conflict erupted in April 1775 with the battles of Lexington and Concord. These skirmishes marked the beginning of the American Revolutionary War. Colonial militias faced off against British troops and the reality of war set in. The colonies now had to decide whether to seek reconciliation or to fight for complete independence. Shortly after the outbreak of hostilities, the Second Continental Congress convened in May 1775. This assembly took on the role of a national government, organizing the Continental Army and appointing George Washington as its commander. The Congress also began to debate the idea of full independence, as hopes for reconciliation with Britain faded. In early 1776, Thomas Paine published a pamphlet called Common Sense. This influential work argued passionately for independence from Britain, using clear and persuasive language. Paine's ideas spread quickly throughout the colonies, convincing many undecided colonists that breaking away from British rule was not only possible, but necessary for their freedom and prosperity. With momentum building, the Second Continental Congress formed a committee to draft a formal Declaration of Independence. Thomas Jefferson was chosen as the principal author, with input from John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and others. The document would outline the colonies' reasons for seeking independence and assert their right to self-government. On July 4, 1776, the Continental Congress officially adopted the Declaration of Independence. This historic document proclaimed that the 13 colonies were now free and independent states, no longer subject to British rule. The Declaration's powerful words about liberty and equality would echo through history, inspiring future generations. Fight for independence was far from over. The Revolutionary War raged on for several years, with major battles fought at places like Saratoga and Yorktown. The Continental Army, led by George Washington, faced many hardships but showed remarkable resilience. Support from France and other allies proved crucial in turning the tide of the war. One of the key factors in the American victory was the support from foreign nations, especially France. French military aid, supplies, and troops helped the Continental Army challenge British forces more effectively. The involvement of other European powers put additional pressure on Britain, making it harder for them to maintain control over the colonies. The Battle of Saratoga in 1777 marked a major turning point in the war. The American victory convinced France to formally ally with the colonies, providing much-needed military and financial support. This alliance shifted the balance of power and gave the Americans a real chance at winning their independence. The road to independence was filled with hardships. The Continental Army endured harsh winters, shortages of supplies, and low morale. Yet the determination of the soldiers and the leadership of figures like George Washington kept the cause alive. Their perseverance became a symbol of the American spirit. The final major battle of the war took place at Yorktown, Virginia in 1781. American and French forces surrounded the British Army, forcing their surrender. This decisive victory effectively ended the fighting and paved the way for peace negotiations. In 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed, officially recognizing the independence of the United States. The treaty established new borders for the young nation and marked the end of British colonial rule in America. This agreement was a monumental achievement for the former colonies. With independence secured, the United States faced the challenge of building a new government. The Articles of Confederation were adopted as the first constitution, but they proved too weak to unite the states effectively. This period was marked by experimentation and debate over the best way to govern the new nation. Recognizing the need for a stronger central government, delegates met in 1787 to draft the United States Constitution. This new framework established a system of checks and balances and created the foundation for American democracy. The Constitution remains a living document, guiding the nation to this day. To address concerns about individual freedoms, the Bill of Rights was added to the Constitution in 1791. These first 10 amendments guarantee essential rights such as freedom of speech, religion, and the press. The Bill of Rights remains a cornerstone of American liberty. The independence of the United States had a profound impact not only on America but also on the world. The ideals of liberty and self-government inspired other nations and peoples to seek their own freedom. The American Revolution became a symbol of hope and possibility. Many individuals played crucial roles in the struggle for independence. George Washington led the Continental Army, Thomas Jefferson authored the Declaration, and Benjamin Franklin secured vital foreign alliances. Their leadership and vision were instrumental in achieving victory and shaping the new nation. Women also contributed significantly to the independence movement. They managed homes and businesses, supported boycotts, and even served as spies and messengers. Figures like Abigail Adams advocated for women's rights, reminding leaders not to forget the contributions of women to the cause. African Americans, both free and enslaved, played important roles in the Revolution. Many fought for the Continental Army, hoping that independence would lead to greater freedom. The struggle for equality, however, would continue long after the war ended. Native American tribes faced difficult choices during the Revolution. Some allied with the British, hoping to protect their lands from colonial expansion, while others supported the Americans. The outcome of the war would have lasting consequences for Native peoples. The Revolution disrupted trade and caused economic hardship, but it also opened new opportunities. Independence allowed Americans to develop their own industries and trade relationships. Over time, the United States would grow into a major economic power. The struggle for independence helped forge a unique American identity. Shared experiences, symbols, and stories united people from different backgrounds. The Revolution laid the foundation for a culture based on freedom, innovation, and self-reliance. Independence Day, celebrated on July 4th, commemorates the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. It is a day of national pride, marked by fireworks, parades, and gatherings. The holiday reminds Americans of the sacrifices made for freedom and the values that continue to define the nation. Symbols like the Liberty Bell, the American flag, and the bald eagle have become enduring icons of independence. These symbols represent the ideals and aspirations of the nation, reminding citizens of their shared heritage and responsibilities. Winning independence was only the beginning. The new nation faced challenges such as political divisions, economic instability, and conflicts with other countries. Overcoming these obstacles required compromise, innovation, and a commitment to the principles of democracy. The American Revolution inspired other movements for independence and democracy around the globe. From France to Latin America, people looked to the United States as a model for their own struggles. The ideals of liberty and self-determination became universal aspirations. Today, the story of American independence continues to resonate. It serves as a reminder of the power of unity, the importance of standing up for one's rights, and the ongoing journey toward a more perfect union. The legacy of independence shapes the United States and inspires people everywhere to pursue freedom and justice.